Podcast, where today we are going to be going over our Week 6 predictions for the NFL season. Recapping last week real quick, we went 7-7, 500, which does bring our total record to 45-33. I did count the tie in the Packers-Cowboys game as a loss, because in like other pick'em leagues I do, it counted as a loss. So I took the tie, added as a loss, and my record is now 45-33 going into week 6. So the first game is our Thursday night game, NFC East battle between the 4-1 Eagles and the 1-4 Giants. Eagles coming off their first loss at the helm of the Denver Broncos in a close game that they had the lead for most of the game and then choked it away. And the Giants are coming off of a loss to the Saints, who got their first win by beating the Giants. Wasn't a very pretty game for the Giants all around. I do think the Giants can keep this game close because, as I said before, every Eagles game has been close so far. Now, granted, the 5 teams they've played are pretty decent. This is maybe the worst team they have played, but every Eagles game has been close. So I do think the Giants can keep this somewhat competitive. Somewhat. They still may lose by a touchdown or something like that, but I don't think the Eagles will just blow out the Giants. I think it will be a low-scoring game. Another common theme with both these teams is low-scoring games. Outside of the Giants and Cowboys each putting up a ton of points, the Giants have also been in a lot of low-scoring games as well. So I think this will be a low-scoring game. I do think the Eagles will win this. I just don't see a world where the Giants beat the Eagles, especially after the Eagles lost. I could see maybe if the Eagles were 5-0 that they, lose to the Giants in like a trap game. But I think since the Eagles got their loss, that it's very unlikely that they lose. Now, if Saquon's out, that changes a lot of things because Saquon is questionable. And if they don't have Saquon, because we saw when the Broncos were able to contain Saquon, they couldn't score a ton of points. They only were able to score 17, and that's why they lost. And if you just don't have Saquon in general, that will make it very difficult. Especially because the Giants don't have a good run defense. So if you don't have Saquon out there, you might not be able to exploit the Giants' weakness. And I think the Giants could win if Saquon's injured. But I am going to go with the Eagles in this one, 23-17. Play the more safer route. Because if Saquon's in, I think they win. And if Saquon's out, I still think they have a good chance to win. But if Saquon is injured, I would not be surprised at all if the Giants were to win that game. Next, we have the Broncos and the Jets in London. Broncos coming off of a big upset win over Philly. Jets coming off of a loss to Dallas where they didn't really do much for the majority of the game until they scored some touchdowns late. Broncos are 7.5-point favorites in this game. And I don't know if I have much confidence in the Jets winning this game. The Jets' defense hasn't been great. And when you're going against a Denver offense, that has been up and down, that's not necessarily what you want. Because if you want to beat the Broncos, it probably happens with, slowing that offense down. And if you're not going to be able to do that, which I don't think the Jets will be able to do, I just don't see a world where they win this game, because if you can't stop Denver, we already know you're going to have a hard time scoring against Denver. So now add on the fact that you can't stop them, which the Jets likely won't be able to. I just don't see a world where they win this game. So I am going to go with Denver 27-20 over the Jets. They're going to be able to score on New York, and I just don't see Justin Fields and the Jets putting up a ton of points against that Denver defense that just held Philly to 17. Next game, this is a very confusing game, and I'm recording this video on Tuesday, a little earlier than normal. So things could change because it all depends on Lamar Jackson. We don't know if Lamar is going to play or not, because I understand why they would want to play him, because you don't want to avoid falling 1-5. Because if Lamar's not out there, I don't even see a chance the Ravens have at winning this game. So you don't want to. Do you just go 1-5 into your bye week, or do you risk playing Lamar and try and go 2-4 going into the bye week, but also play a half healthy Lamar. So it's really interesting. I think, again, the Rams win if Lamar's out. And I still think the Rams win even if Lamar's healthy, just because the Ravens defense hasn't been able to stop literally anybody. Rams are 7.5-point favorites as of now, as of Tuesday. They opened the game. The opening line was 7.5 as well. The Ravens offense or defense hasn't been able to stop literally a thing. And if Lamar's out there, obviously they're going to have a lot more success on offense. But this Rams defense is good, and I still think they can somewhat contain even a Lamar Jackson-led offense. So I will go Rams 31-21 over the Ravens. It'd be a lot. This is if Lamar plays. And if he doesn't play, it's going to be a lot more. But I'm just going to go with, it's sort of in between. Because I think if Lamar plays, it's like a 7-5, 4-point game. And if he doesn't play, it's like a 14, 17-point game. So I went in the middle with a 10-point win for the Rams, just to sort of play both possibilities. Next game, we have the Cowboys-Panthers. The Cowboys are 2-2-1, and the Panthers are 2-3. Cowboys 3.5-point favorites, coming off of an easy win against the Jets, and the Panthers coming off of a comeback win against the Dolphins to get their second win of the season. I think this is a very interesting matchup. I think this will be a very close game, more likely than not. On the Cowboys' offensive side, their offense has been very good. You put up 37 on a bad Jets defense. You put up 40 against Green Bay, which is good. And then you didn't do well against Chicago, but overall, this Dallas defense and Dak Prescott has been very good. George Pickens has been great. Javonte Williams has been great. Jake Ferguson has been great. And on the flip side, the Panthers' defense has been very up and down. Like, they played very well against Atlanta, and then terrible against New England. And then, for the most part, very well against Miami. And then again, in that Arizona game, they played great in the first half, or bad in the first half, great in the second half. So it's very interesting, the Panthers' defense. Now, Dallas's offense averages about 30 points a game. I think the Panthers can hold them to under that. How much under that? Who knows, but I think they can hold them to under 30. And then can the Panthers' offense score against Dallas's defense enough, which has been on the complete opposite end of the spectrum compared to their offense? Their offense has been electric, and their defense has been horrible. And the Panthers' offense, similar to their defense, has been up and down. Not as good as their defense, but still, like, you see flashes of good offense, but you also see flashes of bad offense. And again, I do think this will be a close game, but I think I'm just going to have to go with the more veteran quarterback in Dak Prescott, the more reliable quarterback in Dak Prescott. And I also think the Panthers defense hasn't been good against tight ends. So I think Jake Ferguson will have a good game. And I am going to go with the Cowboys narrowly 27-24 over the Panthers. Next, we have the Cowboys. The Cardinals, who are 2-3, taking on the 4-1 Colts. Colts are 6.5-point favorites coming off of a easy win against the Raiders. Cardinals coming off of the wildest way to lose a game against the Titans that I've ever seen. Now, I don't think you can really take too much weight in that Titans loss for the Cardinals, because when you look at them being up 21-6, they lose that game they win that game like 99 times out of 100. Like, they just so happen to lose to the Titans in the wildest way I've ever seen. And Ricardo losing the ball, fumbling after you picked them off. A lot of stuff happened. But there was a lot of good things in that game. Marvin Harrison was having a good game. The defense, I know it's the Titans, but the defense played well early on. So I don't think you can take too much of that loss into the fact of going forward for the Cardinals. But I still don't really love them in this matchup against the Colts. The Colts are legit. Their defense is great. Their offense is great. They have the third best scoring defense and the second best scoring offense. Now, I do think the Cardinals can keep this somewhat manageable because the Cardinals' defense has been surprisingly very good. They're fourth in scoring defense. So I think they can contain this Cardinals offense. And the one strength of Arizona has been their run defense. They allowed the 8th fewest rushing yards per game. They allow 92 rushing yards a game. So if they can somewhat slow down Jonathan Taylor, I think they can limit this Colts offense. But I just don't know if I trust the Cardinals offense to do much against the Colts defense. So I do think the Colts win, but I think it's closer. It's about around where the spread is. I got Colts 23, Cardinals 17. Next game, this is a good one. I'm excited for this game. We have the 3-2 Seahawks against the 4-1 Jags. Did not think the Jags would be 4-1, but they played great. A battle of two very good defenses. Jags are 1.5 point favorites in this game, so it's almost a coin toss. Battle of two very good defenses. Jags overall just great at limiting points, but their ability to force turnovers has been insane. The turnaround. Last season, they couldn't force any turnovers, and now this season, they can't not force turnovers. Devin Lloyd is playing insane right now. And on the flip side, Seattle's defense has been very good for the most part. I know they just let Tampa Bay put up 38 on them, but it is Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield in that offense. But overall, Seattle's defense has been very good, similar to Jacksonville's. And then when you look at both teams' offenses, Seattle's has been a very consistently good offense. Sam Darnold, JSN, guys like Torrey Horton and A.J. Barner, obviously the two backs they have, their offense has been very good. And just like how in sort of an anomaly they gave a lot of points to Tampa, they also played well against a solid Tampa defense. So I don't have too many concerns about this Tampa defense. I don't have too many concerns about this Seattle offense. It's the Jacksonville offense that I'm a little uncertain about. I know they've played well, but I think they've still had their inconsistencies as an offense. Last week, they impressed me. Against Kansas City, one of the better defenses in the league, you put up 31 points. And those 31 points are also factored in the fact that they had a drive taken away from them on a missed pass interference call, offensive pass interference. And they still managed to put up 31 points. They could have put up 34 to 38 points if that drive stays alive. So the Jags offense had a very good day against the Chiefs. But overall, they haven't been, in my opinion, 100% the most consistent offense, right? So I think I just trust. I think what's going to come down to this game is which offense is going to win the game, because you trust both defenses for sure. It's about the offenses, and I think I just trust Seattle's offense as a whole a little more than I trust Jacksonville's. And on top of that, Jacksonville's strength has been their run game, and that is Seattle's defense's strength. So I'm going Seattle 28-24 in a minor upset over the Jags. Next, we have the Chargers versus the Dolphins. Chargers are 3-2. Dolphins are 1-4. Chargers are 4.5 point favorites in this game. Now, the Chargers are only 4.5 point favorites, but they're coming off of a disappointing loss to the Commanders. And statistically, they're just better than Miami in, everything. Everything, the Dolphins don't do a ton well. But even the Dolphins' slight strengths are the Chargers' strengths. And they're much more stronger in those categories than the Dolphins are. So this is just a mismatch all the way for Miami. And I am going to go with the Chargers. Hold on, let me change this real quick. 28-21. I'm going with the Chargers over the Dolphins. And this might be Mike McDaniel's potential last game as a head coach for the Dolphins. Now we get an AFC North battle between the 1-4 Browns and the 3-1 Steelers. Browns coming off of a close loss in London to the Vikings. Steelers coming off of a bye week, where the week before they beat the Vikings in London. Steelers are 5-point favorites in this game. I think it's going to be a classic AFC North, low-scoring, ugly game. Two very good defenses. Two offenses that... Pittsburgh's offense has been much better than it has in recent years, but still not necessarily an electric offense for the most part, especially when going against the Cleveland defense that, for the most part, has been very good. So I think it's going to be one of those classic low-scoring AFC North games. But if I had to choose between Dillon Gabriel at quarterback or Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, because I think it's going to come down to the offenses, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers on top of everything else the Steelers have on offense, and I'm going Pittsburgh 20-14 over Cleveland. But I do think it'll be a much closer game. Even I guess I still have a 6-point victory for Pittsburgh, but I think it'll just be a low-scoring, ugly game for the entirety of the game. Next, we have the Patriots against the Saints. Patriots 3-2, coming off of a big upset win against Buffalo, and the Saints are 1-4, coming off their first win of the season when they beat the Giants. Patriots are 3.5-point favorites in this game. I just don't know how a team that... The thing is, I could see a world where the Saints win this game, but I just don't know if I can see the Saints, because the Patriots got their big upset. They got their big win, and now they're going against one of the worst teams in the league. They might get caught slacking a bit. But I also don't know if I see a world where the Saints win 2 straight games. But it's possible. It is possible. I just think when you look at a Patriots defense that just held the Bills to 20 points, and a Patriots defense that has only let one team score more than 21 points, and that team was the Dolphins, who might have got a special teams or defensive touchdown. So they might have even held the offense to under 21 points. I just don't see a world where a Saints team that has scored more than 21 points twice, and again, one of those was a defensive touchdown when they beat the Giants. I just don't see a world where the Saints put up a ton of points on a very good Patriots defense, and I think the Patriots offense can do enough to win. The Saints defense has been decent at times, but also not perfect. So I'm going Patriots 27-20 against the Saints. Now, this is a very interesting game here. A battle of 1-4 teams between the Titans, who are at an all-time high, getting their first win in improbable fashion, and the Raiders, who are at an all-time low after getting blown out by the Colts. Raiders are 4.5-point favorites, but I like Titans' chances in this game. I think 4.5. I understand why it's 4.5, because the Titans, for literally 4 weeks and 2 quarters, have looked like the worst team in the league. But the Raiders haven't looked that great either, to be honest. Yeah, they beat the Patriots in week 1, but after that they got blown. They lost to the Chargers, and they only lost by 11, but they weren't doing anything in that game. They get blown out by the Commanders. They lose to the Bears on a blocked field goal, and then they get blown out by the Colts. We're talking all this stuff about the Titans, how they looked horrible. The Raiders haven't looked that good for the most part either. So I actually really like the chances the Raiders have to win this game. And mainly because I think if the Raiders want to win, they need to be able to pass the ball. Geno needs to be able to throw like 35 passes, complete like 22 of them for like 350 yards if they want to win games. And the one strength of the Titans' defense is their pass defense. It's not necessarily a big strength, but that is what they do best, is defend the pass. Because they're terrible at defending the run. But the Raiders haven't proven to be a good run team. It's not Ashton Gentry's fault, but the Raiders' O-line's just not great. So I don't think they'll be able to exploit the Titans' bad run defense as much as they want. And I think they're gonna throw the ball, and that's gonna play in the hands of the Titans. And I think they ride that momentum. And my upset of the week is the Titans beating the Raiders 28-24. High-scoring game because both these defenses can't stop anything. But I'm going with the Titans as my upset of the week. Next game, San Fran Tampa, another game that I think is going to be a very good game, and I'm very excited about this game. Both teams 4-1, both coming off of big wins. San Fran beating the Rams at LA with Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, McCaffrey, and nobody else on offense, and the Bucs coming off of a back and forth shootout win against Seattle. Both teams riding momentum off of big weeks. Don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play, although I think you should stick with Mac Jones, especially after what he did against a very good Rams defense. Bucs are favored in this game, mainly because they're home, 3-point favorites, and they're, good obviously, but I think you have a very good offense in Tampa and a very good defense in San Fran. And then you have a very mediocre offense in Tampa, or defense in Tampa, and at least scoring-wise, a mediocre offense in San Fran. However, San Fran is second in passing yards, which is what Tampa Bay doesn't do well on defense. We saw that in the Seattle game. And they're fifth in yards. So San Fran can move the ball. They just maybe haven't scored as many points as you would like to see. So I think they can put up points against this Tampa defense. And I think it comes down to, can they slow down Baker? I think with Purdy or with Mac Jones, they can put up points against Tampa. It's all about, can they contain the red-hot Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers offense? And I actually think they can. Now, the one issue with this game is they're likely not going to be able to generate a lot of pressure. They haven't been able to without Nick Bosa. Tampa Bay's got a good O-line. So that's the one thing that is going to hinder San Fran's defense. But I actually really like San Fran's chances. They've played very well despite all the injuries. I don't know who's healthy or not, but they could get a lot of guys back. The only guy that's not coming back is George Kittle and Nick Bosa, but everyone else has a chance to play. I even think Ayuk could play. So I'm going San Fran 27-23 over the Bucs. Now, going from a very fun, exciting game between two good teams, we now have Packers-Bengals. Packers 2-1-1 coming off a bye week. Bengals 2-3. Packers are 14-point favorites. Now, I know the Packers have been underwhelming these last 2 weeks. They start off the season handily beating the Lions at home, then beating the Commanders, and then you lose to the Browns, and then you tie with the Cowboys. And they've been they're on the down right now, but I think this bye week was very important for them, and I think that bye week is going to help them. I don't know if they need it against the Bengals, though, because the Bengals have been one of the worst teams in the league recently. Their offense, outside of the end of that game against the Lions with Jake Browning, has been almost unwatchable in the last 2 weeks before the Lions game, and like the first half or 3/4 of the Lions game, this offense has done nothing. And you're going against the Packers defense, which, outside of giving up 40 to Dallas, which turns out Dallas just does that a lot, has been very good. So I don't think Cincinnati's going to score. Now, Joe Flacco has now been traded to Cincinnati, so I don't know if he's going to start or not. But if Joe Flacco is at quarterback, I think that maybe they can have a little more success than Jake Browning. Not a lot, maybe a little bit more. But I just don't know. And then you also got to stop Jordan Love and this Packers offense, which there's no questions about them. That unit is legit. The defense has shown some holes, some question marks. The offense really hasn't. And they're going to be able to score against Cincinnati. I'm going Green Bay 35-20 over Cincinnati in my lock of the week. Now we get our Sunday night game between the Chiefs and the Lions. 4-1 Lions versus the 2-3 Chiefs. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites as of now. I think this will be a very high-scoring game. I know the Chiefs' defense has been good, but they just let Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville put up 30 on them, 31 on them. So I think this will be a high-scoring game. And I don't really know. I don't have a ton of reasoning for why I'm picking who I'm picking, because I think both teams can easily win this game. I just don't know if there is a world where the Chiefs go 2-4. Because if they lose this game, they go to 2-4. And I just don't know if I see a Chiefs team going 2-4. Whether it's the NFL not wanting them to go 2-4, whether it's the team not wanting them to go 2-4, I just don't see a world where they go 2-4. So I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs winning 30-27 over the Lions. There's not a lot more to my reasoning outside of that, to be honest. I mean, I think the Chiefs defense can improve on their performance against Jacksonville and not allow 30-plus points. And I think against this Lions defense, which has been good for the most part, I think they can get after them, especially in the air. That is the Lions' weakness, is their secondary. And I think Mahomes can get after that and put up a lot of points. So I'm actually going with the Chiefs over the Lions. Now going on to our Monday night doubleheader. I hope we don't have many of these left. I don't know how many, if any, Monday night doubleheaders are left, but I really hope not many because I prefer just one game on Monday night. I don't know about anyone else, but that's just my opinion. But the first game we have is the Bills at 4-1 taking on the Falcons at 2-2. Falcons coming off a bye week, Bills coming off of their first loss of the season to the Patriots. Bills are 4.5-point favorites. I know the Falcons are coming off a bye, and similar to the Patriots, they have the defense to somewhat contain Josh Allen in this offense. But Josh Allen on prime time, Sunday night at home, just put up 20 points against the Patriots. I don't see a world where Josh Allen and this Bills offense goes back-to-back weeks putting up 20, 21 points. So I think they're going to score a lot against this Falcons defense. Now, the Falcons offense in return, I think, can put up points, right? This Bills defense is susceptible to letting teams score on them, especially I think their one downside of that defense is their run defense, and that's perfect for the Falcons. That's their strength. They want to be able to run the ball, give the ball to Bijan, give the ball to Algier. So I think in return they will score as well, but I just don't know if Michael Penix and that Falcons offense can score enough to what I think the Bills are going to score coming off of that tough loss to New England. So I'm going Bills 30-24 against the Falcons. And our last game of the week, Bears-Commanders rematch of the Hail Mary game. Bears are 2-2 coming off a bye week. Commanders are 3-2 coming off of a very good win against the Chargers. And they're 5-point favorites in this game just because the Bears have been a little up and down. I mean, the Commanders against a Chargers defense that has been one of the best in the league. The year before, they were the number one scoring defense. They put up 27 against them. And now they're going against a Bears defense, which on average gives up 30 points a game. I think that's just a recipe for the Commanders are going to score a lot of points, especially because they are going to be able to run the ball very, very well against this Bears defense if what we've seen from this Bears defense stays true. They haven't been able to stop the run very well. So the Bears are going to be able to get after that the Commanders are going to be able to get after that run defense, especially after the game that Krosky Merritt, that Bill, just had. And the Commanders defense, which some have been somewhat questionable about, played very well. I've been impressed with the Commanders defense for majority of the season, and they proved me right somewhat, I guess, when they held Justin Herbert and the Chargers to just 10 points. So I don't know if it's looking good for the Bears to win this game with the fact that Commanders defense will likely be able to score and that their defense, I think, can contain Caleb Williams and this Bears offense, which has looked good. I'm not going to take that away from them. The Bears offense has been very good, but I just don't know if they have enough. So I will go Commanders. Exact same score as the Bills game, 30-24 win over the Bears. I don't know if the same score has happened in a Monday night doubleheader, but you know what? I'm predicting it. And that will conclude our Week 6 game picks, predictions, whatever you want to call it, for the 2025 NFL season. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new, subscribe. And in the comment section, as always, let me know some of your predictions for this week's games. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.